90% of businesses do not have this system. They do not have a cash flow system. Sales minus expenses equal profit is not a system. It's a formula that is wrong. Okay. So profit first professionals, they are experts in profit first. They're experts in implementing this system in every business, right? To architect the bank accounts and the cash flow to not only eliminate the pains, but achieve the wants.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Pivot to Profit. And we have the amazing, legendary Ron Saharyan, Ron, with us today. How are you, sir?
Very good, Pam. Thank you. I'm blessed to be here today.
Well, I am so excited because you are one of the fathers of Profit First, and I am a Profit First professional. Love it. Implement it with many of our clients. So let me introduce you. Ron is the co-founder and managing partner of Profit First Professionals. Ron has over 20 years of experience in managing organizational growth and built multiple companies in the staffing industry prior to launching Profit First. All right, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So before we get into all the wonderfulness that is Profit First, what I want to know is, what did little Ron want to be when he grew up?
Yeah, I still want to be that person. And right there, see that? That's the Dallas Cowboy football star in the old Texas Stadium. I was supposed to be the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
So I always wanted to play running back for the Dallas Cowboys as a kid.
And it's still on the bucket list?
Yes. The closest I've come though was on that field, running with the ball, kicking field goals and catching passes. I think my speed topped out my sophomore year. My height stopped my sophomore year, and everybody faster and quicker just boom.
They just ran past you, didn't they, Ron?
Yeah, but that's okay.
So sad. But look, you're doing amazing things now. But also think back, and a lot of what you do now is around money and profit, which is my
Yeah.
heart, and I love that. But what was little Ron taught about money? What did mom and dad say? Organizations you're around, family members? Was money good? Was it bad? Help me understand.
Yeah, I love this question because I was a kid that was brought up that money grows on trees. Okay, you work hard. Okay, you get the fruits of your labor. And you buy an apple, steal an apple, plant the seeds. You'll be able to have money growing on trees. And so I've always known that in order to make money, you actually have to do the job. Okay. Now, the other part of me that growing up on that, I also experienced entrepreneurial poverty. I've eaten welfare cheese. Thank you, Ronnie Reagan in the 1980s. So I've lived both sides of that, where my father was an industrial real estate broker, done really, really well. And then, hey, you can do this, you can make money, you can do this. And then the 80s hit, whatever. And then boom, that all crashed. Parents got separated, fighting, empty households. And the funnest thing about eating welfare cheese back in the day was as thick as you can make those sandwiches. So that's part of why I'm doing profit first, why I've always been in love with teaching people how to not only make money, but keep more of their money, to use it for its intended purposes.
Yeah. So walk us through the early years of Ron. Money grew on trees, you had to work for it. Where did you start your career when you were like, it's time for me to start planting some seeds and making some money? Like,
Yeah.
what was day one for you?
So I started I've changed the channel a couple of times, Pam. And, so if you're listening to me and if you're at a certain age, it's never too late to change your channel. Right.
Yeah.
And so I started out as an investigator, public defender service, Washington, D.C.'s. I wanted to become a police officer, but more of a federal police officer. So I decided to see what the other side looks like. So I ended up as a, investigator for D.C., felony ones, murder, rapes, arsons. And yeah, I did that, and that was very eye-opening. It gave me a lot of different perspectives that I hadn't had in the past before, and I realized that that's not what I wanted to do.
I love it. So, how did you morph? How many iterations were there of you before there's the wonderful Ron that sits before us as a profit ambassador, advisor, Obi
Yeah.
Ron.
Well, so my mother taught me a pretty simple envelope budgeting methodology as a kid. So I have always had that in the back. But after, I was doing the investigation, my buddy called me and he said, "Hey, Ron, you want to recruit?" And I love sports. So I said, "Sure. What sports team, what franchise, whatever." He goes, "No, technical recruiting." I go, "What the heck is that?"
Mhm.
Next minute, I know I'm working for, one of the largest technical staffing firms in America. After a couple of years of that, I was one of the youngest directors managing a division. And then, that's how I cut my teeth in the staffing world for about 15 years,
Yeah.
turning them into niche specialization, getting consultants on the street with high margin, adding a profit component on top of the markup. Right. Okay. And then did that for a couple of years and then had an opportunity. I was basically told we were done scaling. And I love growing businesses and I love helping staff be successful. So now I'm like, what the heck? So now I'm like, I got to look for my next opportunity. That's where Mike emailed me and he said, hey, he saw my post. I said, anybody have anything cool going on? It was on LinkedIn. Mike's never on LinkedIn. He said,
Yeah.
hey, dude, listen, I've got another book coming out that I'd love you to read. And so Mike and I are friends. We grew up together. We went to the same grade school, same high school. He's a couple of grades above me, but we stayed on the same, teams and lunch tables and stuff like that. It's like, you got to read my manuscript. I'm like, all right, let's read it. And so I read it and I said, I do this. He's like, what do you mean you do this? I go, this is grandmother's envelope budgeting methodology. It's how I taught my lacrosse teammates how to have money and this and that and everything. He's like, we got to get this into the hands of, business owners out there. I'm like, yeah. I said, actually, we should get it in the hands of accountants, bookkeepers to get it out there. They're the ones that are going to be helping this more so than the actual business owner, because Mike started to see that some of the business owners also were like, I can't do this.
It's too much.
Yeah. So I went from actually being a welder in high school and college to an investigator for a little bit, then as a staffing person. And then I got out of that world and, here I am teaching accountants how to, make the move from a strategic advisor to the trusted authority like you.
I love it. I love it. So, how long ago did you and Mike McCallowitz sit down and be like, yeah, let's make something of this?
September is going to be our 11th year of eradicating entrepreneurial poverty. And so we started out, the basement of his house on August 1st, 2014. The book was released, and I just started picking up the phone and making cold calls and introducing everybody under the sun that had an accounting or bookkeeping or coaching firm to the world of Profit First.
I love that you read Profit First and immediately went, accountants need this.
Yeah.
Help. And that makes sense to me because I am an accountant for lack of a better term. But like for the average business owner, explain that connection between Profit First and the cash flow methodology and why accountants and bookkeepers are the gold mine within it.
Yeah, so this might surprise you a little bit because one of the things is I wasn't necessarily looking at it as accountants and bookkeepers. I was looking at it through the niche lens or niche lens. Okay, because I've always known that the riches are in the niches, as they say. So one of the things is it just naturally said, you know what? Maybe there's a channel, maybe there's a specific industry that we could really, really use it. I was corporate. I had no idea that the entrepreneurial struggle was as real as it was in my household. Right. I thought it was just my father. I didn't realize that, this was a common problem all over the place. And so, when we first started, my idea was to get rich. I didn't realize that, oh my God, there's statistics out there that are going to tell me the opposite. And so, it was a calculated decision to pick a niche, and it just happened to be, the true experts that could really benefit from deploying this not only to their own businesses but all of their customers' businesses. Mike and
Yeah.
I are only one or two people, and we can all spread so thin. So if we could pick people to spread it, that's what we did.
Yeah. Much bigger ripple effect if you have a whole army of Profit First professionals, accountants, bookkeepers, CFOs out there implementing this with businesses, we can hit millions instead of hundreds.
Right. And here's the issue, though. The early days were extremely tough. Every day, people were telling us this is bullshit. It's not going to work. This is snake oil stuff. It's going to be too expensive for the bookkeepers. You don't need all these bank accounts. I mean, literally hour after hour. This is where Mike and I really had to strengthen our mental fortitude to get through this. We knew we had a great idea. We knew this was working. It was working in our businesses, but the pushback was so real, so hard that, anytime, your audience faces something new, it's going to be a little challenging, a little difficult. But if you're open to these new things, these new ideas, great, take the first step. But now we have to strengthen our mental fortitude to get through it, to get through that learning curve.
Yeah.
Right. That's where, it was tough, to say the least.
So tell me about when Profit First and Profit First Professionals was getting traction, and you and Mike looked at each other and were like, we can do this. This is going to work.
So we called the original 8, the first 8 folks that joined up with us. I think 6 or 5 are still on our rosters, which is phenomenal. I don't think I've ever felt like this was going to work. You know what I mean? I still don't. I know it's working, but I don't feel like it, right? There's still so much to do. I'm not there yet. We're still going uphill. There's still, pushback. There's still, misinformation about, the system. So I'm not waking up thinking that we're here, that we've made it. I'm waking up thinking the competition's right behind us. People are ripping us off left and right? How can we improve? How can we support our members? How can we help them grow, their futures? How can we help people, shortcut their desired future by doing this? So we haven't made it yet.
You don't have that moment. I love it.
No.
Because you're still hungry, which is awesome.
One of the things is, and I say this to business owners all the time, be careful for when you're grooving, right? When you're in a groove, you're grooving. Things are doing awesome, right? Billings are coming on in, money's going on out. You're happy, you're this or that. But when you're in that groove, if you're in it too long, you're going to look up, you're going to be in a rut. So that's an indication, everybody listening, when things are grooving, that's an indication for you to say, okay, time out. Let me not be so comfortable. Let me make sure, okay? Because money coming on in can mask a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're grooving, make sure that you look up before you're in the rut.
With Profit First Professionals, just give us a basic understanding. Obviously I'm one, but just for our listeners, and I've done other podcasts on Profit First, but just help understand the basics of the framework of the book and how the Profit First Professionals play in. Help our listeners understand that relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, Profit First is not accounting. It is not bookkeeping. Okay. Right. You get that. I get that. Right. How you do accounting, how you do bookkeeping is the same. Profit First is a system. It's a system that resides between financials, which are historical documents, and forecasting, which are hopes and dreams. 90% of businesses do not have this system. They do not have a cash flow system. Sales minus expenses equal profit is not a system. It's a formula that is wrong. Okay. So Profit First Professionals, they are experts in Profit First. They're experts in implementing this system in every business, right? To architect the bank accounts and the cash flow to not only eliminate the pains, but achieve the wants, right? You're able to go into any business, diagnose it, implement this cash flow system that they don't have, that they need, okay, to make smart decisions. And you're able to guide them on making smart decisions, right? You're not bogging them down with crazy fancy dashboards, reports, or anything like that. You as a fractional CFO are having great conversations with your customers that are leading to smarter decisions, that are leading to more money in the bank at the end of the day, not just on that piece of paper. So what is Profit First? A system. If you don't have a cash flow system, pick up the phone, call Pam, get on a call, and realize that there is a better way of managing your cash from a front windshield approach versus historians that tell you what you already know.
Thank you. Yes, this is why I love Profit First. Because when I first read the book, I was like, but I'm an accountant, so it makes sense to me, like the multiple bank accounts and all of that. But I could see on page like 7 that are like, but entrepreneurs need this. And that's where I've been a Profit First professional since 2019, I
I know
believe.
you're OG.
So I've been around for a minute, and we love it because it just brings freedom. And that some of our clients do 100% of it, and then some of them just do a little piece of it. But what's great about the cash flow system is we're able to customize it for what the client needs. So if you need an other people's money account, add it. If you need a payroll account, add it. Like when in doubt, add an account. It's not,
You got it.
all that, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, great. Let's have an inventory account, you know?
And you know what? The thing is, while we're talking, it sounds so simplistic. The book reads so simplistic, but the devils are in the details. That's the issue. I've seen a lot of accounting firms screw up businesses by the misinterpretation and implementation of Profit First. Just because you read a book on something doesn't give you the right to be an expert in it and take that knowledge and implement it into a company. I mean, we're talking about cash flow here too. We're not talking about, some sort of rinky-dink thing. We're talking about the blood that flows through your organization, the heartbeat of your organization. And you're willing to work with somebody that just read the book and guesses versus somebody that's been through extensive certification and that is running it in their business and deploys it to all of their customers. It's crazy, but people do it. I mean,
I
I
see it
read
all the time.
I read a book on chiropractic. You want me to crack your back, Pam?
Please don't touch me now.
I know, right? Exactly. Hey, I'm Profit First friendly. I read the book. I can open up some accounts for you.
No, no. And what I've seen a lot is customers come to us and they've self-implemented. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, you only have 2 accounts. Where are the rest? Oh, I just don't need the other ones. I'm like, okay. Um, let's talk about why more than 2 is helpful, right? And like, so how much are you putting aside for taxes and profit? Oh, I just put it
I
I
know.
just square up at the end of the year. No, you're not. The money's not gonna be there.
Yeah, a half-assed implementation will get a half-assed result. It'll probably be better than what you normally have been doing. That's the problem, right? Because you'll have a little bit of success with a little bit of Profit First, but you're not going to get the ultimate success unless you're really working with a certified Profit First professional who knows really what they're doing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And like I said, we use this methodology in our own business, but then also teach it with our clients. And I've been able to implement it, do trainings and all that just with our clients to show them, look, even and being able to talk to specific niches. And I know there's Profit First, Profit First, the book, but then there's also Profit First for real estate investors
Yep.
and Profit First for dentists and like all these other versions that are magical. We deal with a lot of service providers. So I've been able to do training with like our salon owners and be like, look, if you're a commissioned salon, here's an extra account that I recommend you add, and here's why it's
Yep.
important, and here's percentages to consider to help you as a starting baseline, right? And so it's such a great framework that regardless of what industry you're in, regardless of who you serve or what widget you sell, it's a great way to manage your cash to make sure that at the end of the day, there's actually money in the bank and it's yours. I tell clients all the time, just because there's money in the bank doesn't mean it's yours. Because if you have a bank account and there happens to be $50,000 in it, that doesn't mean it's your money because you've got your Amex coming out tomorrow, your mortgage is due, and then you got payroll. So you actually have negative $200. Congratulations.
Right, exactly. And so Profit First was like, we designed this not to push the book, not to push membership, but to help accountants and bookkeepers be consultative to their business customers. And for the business customers, right, part of the challenge is that they feel their business is unique. Either it's too small, can't use Profit First, too complex, can't use Profit First, in the industry that isn't Profit First. That's all bullshit. It really is. I mean, we have it implemented in well over 1 million businesses, everything from startups, every startup that Mike and I, even we were talking offline about that development project we have. That's profit first. I'm running profit first in that business as well, right? All the way up to $100 million construction companies and everything in between.
Yeah. Because it's the framework, it's for your cash flow and how to run your business and consider your money. I look at my
It's
bank
a, it,
accounts, I see
it,
what each is in there, and I make decisions based on that, not on some unknown question.
Data-driven decision, right? The easiest thing in the world is being able to make a snap decision. Mike and I we're in S Corp. We're a global organization. We have a few different lines of revenue coming on in. We have 20 bank accounts at 5 different institutions. Okay. The reconciliation in those bank accounts is under 8 minutes. We timed it. Okay. 8 minutes. They're holding accounts. The financial clarity that I have at all times is second to none. I get a report that says, Ron, this is how much money was in this particular, this particular 2 week period, because we do the 10th and the 25th. This is how much was in. This is how much went out. Your allocations have been made. OpEx is meeting expectations, blah, 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 blah. Here's your cash holding positions. See you Thursday. I'm
Love it.
like, boom, 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 boom. Awesome. Right. Hey, somebody comes to me, the marketing team. Hey, Ron, we just found this new AI tool. Can we want to take your value starts at hello and create it into a cartoon and blah, blah, blah. Great. Is there money in the account?
Exactly. It helps you answer, can you take advantage of that opportunity or not? Can you
Yep.
afford it or not? Well, it's an easy answer. There's either money in that account or there's not.
Exactly. Exactly. And a lot of people don't realize that profit first is a growth tool. Right. Because statistically speaking, most businesses are suffering, but profit first is for those who want to achieve. Right. And so some of the time somebody will say, well, Ron, I'm making, a couple hundred G's. I don't have any mortgages, I'm good, blah, 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 blah. All right. Awesome. Well, are you a decamillionaire? Right? What is your retirement savings? Do you have, 6 months of core capital for home this? What about alternative revenue strategies? What about insurance? What about being your own banker? What about, funding your parents' elderly care? What about, charitable distributions, contributions? Like also, so when we start firing all these things at those businesses, that's the beauty of a business when it makes money. You can leverage all of these awesome things. Like, I don't know, how about a defined benefit plan for your staff? How about safe harbor so you can put in more money for your retirement?
Yes, all of that. When we work with our clients, if you don't have cash in the bank, you can't take advantage of opportunities. And if you don't have cash in the bank, we can't take advantage of wealth building tools. And if you don't have cash in the bank, we can't take advantage of tax strategy. The tax man cometh. But if you have cash available, we can do things. But if you have no
Yes.
cash, you're going to give the cash you don't have to the IRS. And so Profit First is our number one way to help people be able to implement the tax strategies because they have the money sitting in the tax account, not for the IRS, but for their tax strategy and their personal wealth growth.
Yes. Has any one of your customers ever said to you, but Pam, my owner's pay is different than what you're telling me because you're reporting it differently, like your distributions? Like I've had people say to me, Ron, my accountant said my owner's pay is this because I'm a this and this. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so you're using the money that they have a name on it, but then you're taking the accounting lingo and the benefits and all the loopholes, and you're applying it in different ways that traditionally have not made sense to dopes like me.
Yeah, and it gives you options. And where if you didn't have the profit or the tax account with money sitting in it, you wouldn't be able to take advantage of things and not have to pay the IRS. And
Right.
so, yeah, I've had clients come, oh, well, this percentage should be this and this and this. I was like, okay, well, just remember that 10% is actually sitting in your tax account because we're about to do this investment, or we're going to set up this retirement account, or we're going to move it to your whole family management company, right? Like, just because we're not hitting the 35%, you're actually going to make more money. Like,
And
chill
then
out.
they smile. They
Yeah.
always smile, right? They fear because especially in the new, they're worried, and we get it. We get that the path isn't clear, but that's why Pam's holding hands, right? Because you're guiding. And so it's awesome when they hit the worry button. right?
Yeah.
They hit the worry button. What about this? What about, and you go, we got it. That's
Gonna
what
be all
this is
right.
for. This is for. And then they smile and they're like, oh, what a relief.
Yeah. And it's just the calmness that you don't have to worry about payroll because it's in the account. You don't have to worry about your fixed expenses because it's in OpEx. You don't have to worry about the tax bill because you have money in tax account for tax strategy or to go to the IRS. Like I've had so many clients when we first implement Profit First be like, I'm sleeping better, right? Because I know where my money is and I know what it's for.
The first thing that that happens, and this is over 10 years of experience and also working with companies all over the globe, not just here in America. The entrepreneurial struggle remains consistent in every country. It's crazy. And so, having the ability to be able to provide the cash flow clarity to customers is something that, we don't take lightly, something that we realize and we're so passionate about. I mean, if we can help business owners survive, right? We can help business owners make it to year 1, 5, 10, generational turnovers, right? We're changing statistics. When small business people have profit, they can pay down their debt. They can celebrate the health of the company or they can hire. When Main Street can hire, people have jobs. When people have jobs, it relieves the stress from the home life.
I love it. We're saving marriages.
I know. I know. I know. And one of the things is every start, imagine being a startup and having a system in place where you know how you're going to be paying yourself from the very first deposit, how you know you're going to be profitable, how you know your expenses are going to be in control. What is that's called is relief. Okay. Now that you have that taken care of, you can focus on growing your business. All you got to do is sell. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of when Mike and I started, Pam, right? When I'm in the basement, all I'm doing is banging out calls left and right. All I had to do is get that sale. I had to convince Billy Ann, who's now our COO,
I
to
love it.
take a chance on some knucklehead that just is pushing a book,
Yeah.
right? But the stuff being able to focus on your sales and your staff, educating your staff is so much better than worrying about how you're going to pay yourself, how you're going to keep your expenses in control.
This is amazing, Ron. Obviously, I'm a, disciple of Profit First and it's spreading the good word. But share with us what's next for Profit First. What's on the horizon? Obviously, the army of accountants and bookkeepers is growing. What's coming on the horizon?
Tech, 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 and more tech.
Okay.
Right? We're embracing technology. We're embracing AI. We just released the Profit First app, which is really, really great for those businesses that can't yet afford an accountant or a bookkeeper or something to get them going. The beauty of that app is it's something that we use here internally. Most of our members are using it and adopting it. And then when you are ready for a Profit First professional, you already have the app, you already have the setup, you already have things going. It makes their migration over to a Profit First professional that much easier. Additionally, the Profit First professionals are going to have advanced views. They're going to have advanced tools, various different things that only they will be able to get as a member, right? It's a
Yeah.
competitive advantage. But the app and technology is really what we're leaning into.
I love that. I love that. Ron, this has been amazing. Where can people connect with you to learn more about you and being a Profit First professional?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on Facebook. It's Ron Saharyan. I'm the only Ron Saharyan out there. Definitely hit me up. But if you're interested in working with a Profit First professional, you have Pam right there. If you're interested in being a certified Profit First professional or having your current accountant become a certified Profit First professional, all you got to do is go to profitfirstprofessionals.com. There's a little hamburger thing up there. Click on that and we'll have a conversation. We'll see if this makes sense for us and you. That's simple.
Ron, it has been an honor to have you here on the podcast. Thank you so much. Dear listeners, make sure that you like and subscribe to the podcast. We love reviews. And if you do want help implementing Profit First in your business, just go to pamjordan.com. My team would love to connect with you. We've implemented Profit First in hundreds of companies, and we would love for you to be the next one. And remember that it's not what you make that matters, it's what you keep.